Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coast Files, your podcast for ocean mysteries and true crime. I'm Chantel.
I'm Lindsay.
And I'm barely holding on. I'm Megan.
I almost forgot what I was going to say. I was like, do we do ocean mysteries or true crime first?
This is
So
already,
guys. It's already
this is already going
It's
to
up
hell.
to you.
and
Are
we have just
our
started.
intro person. You can switch up whenever you want.
That's fair.
You can say
Honestly, if I
whatever you
wouldn't, I
want.
would have just.
I'm just so glad
Hey
that
guys,
I'm not the
welcome
intro
the
person.
fuck back.
Hey, that's it.
Yeah.
You're here.
Meg and I lucked out with not having that burden of responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we gave it to you, but I'm glad you have it.
Yeah.
I think it was just like I don't remember.
I don't know.
actually. It might have just
Yeah.
been my turn to intro that week, and we just like changed it to let's just do
We
one
decided
intro
forever
Because remember
Chantel has
before
to
we
do
were
it.
each
Oh.
doing it based off of whose
We were
episode
also
it
going
was.
to, I think,
Yeah.
record it and like add it in. I'm like, well, that was never going to work.
Well, I mean, we could do that
No.
for the video. It's like, but
I
don't know.
like how I don't know if you're going to get through it each time. So I like
Right.
that.
Me too.
I also
look
almost
forward
said my
to
name
it.
as a question, so
Chantel?
I think it's because I'm looking at Ron Burgundy right now.
Or is it Ron
Anyways,
Burgundy?
Yeah, I'm Chantel.
So now this is
I'm
kind of
Robert.
fun. If you clicked on this episode, you know exactly what we're talking about. But the funny thing is that Lindsay and I have no idea.
Yeah.
They
At
have
this moment of
zero
time,
idea.
we are completely oblivious to this topic.
It's a
Yeah,
secret.
they're staring at Ron Burgundy in a glass case of emotion right now because that's what I made as the cover of the photo album. Anyways,
This is just very
yes.
millennial coded. We have no
It is.
personality. It's
Yes.
just from movie.
So
and
we like
TVs.
it, but we don't know why.
yeah.
How come I can recreate the entire movie, line by line, yet I almost failed statistics?
Yeah,
I
that
don't
and
know.
Napoleon Dynamite are like
Oh, that's
the
a
two
classic.
things that I just quote all the
I
time.
feel like you would have.
Gina,
I thought
you're
you did
Gina.
okay at statistics in the end, right, Megan? But
I
when I
got
think
it,
about
right?
statistics, I think you would do so well at it because you like to organize, and like statistics is
Yeah,
organizing
but not like that.
data. Yeah, something more fun.
I want to like organize someone's closet
like
and purge
this.
it. I don't want to.
Right. Yeah. Like if I had to
However,
organize my Halloween decorations.
Oh, I would get
I
an
would-
A+.
Yeah, I just fly you in and just like.
It
Megan,
is
you
funny
got to do
though
it.
because of numbers. When I was trying to pay off all my student loans, which is nothing like student loans in the States. Just want to say that it wasn't hundreds of thousands.
Okay, that's
my-
still not great. Like,
No,
either way,
I
it
mean,
sucks.
It was still tens of thousands. But my
Mhm.
stepmom for years was like, Megan, you should, budget. I'm like, I'm sure I'll be fine. And I was not. I had no money. And so when I started becoming like obsessed with budgeting, that's as close as I got to getting an A+ in
Yeah.
statistics and numbers.
Which we share,
That's
Megan.
fair.
We both share.
Oh
an
yeah.
obsession
Now I'm
with
like, Lindsay, look at
budgeting.
the spreadsheet. And we both
I know. Megan has
just
sent me
freak
spreadsheets
out.
before, and I've been just as excited as she.
I also made a pretty like Vadim was so impressed because like he's
A
normally the
spreadsheet?
more organized one. I don't know. I
But
have
you are
certain
organized
things
with
I'm organized.
money.
I'm organized with money, but I made us like a huge spreadsheet of like what do we spend each month in each category and like where is it
Can we
going?
start
Is it
a
going
separate
to food? Is it going
spreadsheet
to
chat? Because
Yeah.
like I now really
Yeah.
I get hard watching people
know.
like
Oh yeah,
have
so
awesome
it's like
spreadsheets.
here's our rent, here's
Yeah.
our bills, here's your office bills, here's your like all. I had this all separated. He was like, "Wow," he's like, "This is really good." I was like, "I don't know why you're so surprised because when I put my mind to it, I can really do it."
Yeah.
I know that like my bedroom, because I have my own bedroom here, looks just like organized chaos because there's just shit everywhere. But like if I want to organize, I can.
I mean, I wouldn't say
Right.
organized chaos. I would just say
but it's
you
organized
know-
chaos to me
yes,
because
you
I know where everything is.
Yeah.
I know.
To the
My-
layman person.
I can see why
Nothing
you would
makes
think
sense.
it looks insane. However,
Yes,
Yes,
that was like
yeah.
a big like point of contention between me and my dad because he's really like organized. He likes to see everything like clean and stuff. I'm like, but Dad, I know where
Mhm.
things are. So if you
Mhm.
move things,
touch
then I
it.
no longer know, and therefore
Yeah.
to me, it's no longer
have a system.
organized. I have a
Yeah,
system.
like-
It might not make sense to you, but it makes sense to me. So
Every
don't touch
once in a while, I would come home and my mom would, in high school, would have like cleaned my room for me, which like I loved.
Nice
Will never
gesture.
complain about that.
however,
Totally loved it. However, I now know where nothing is. And she
Yeah.
would be like, "But it's put away," and I'm like, "I don't remember where away
But
is."
where?
Okay.
Yeah. And then she won't
Well,
remember where she put
well,
it
the
either.
clothes are
'cause-
in the dresser. No,
No,
no, no, no, no,
no,
no, no,
wrong.
no, 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 wrong,
Yeah.
wrong.
No.
Where's my favorite sweater?
That's your
'Cause
first
it goes
mistake.
here on the office chair.
We were just laughing because someone did a comment on one of our YouTube videos, and like we
Mm.
know it was not malicious, but however, maybe then just don't say it, okay? Maybe
Yeah.
just don't say it. But they said it was a compliment sandwich. They said you guys seem great, you seem so nice. However, you clearly all have ADHD. You are talking over each other. You don't stay on topic, but like I'm sure you're so nice, and I'm like. I
Was
can't even. I have no rebuttal because you're
no
all
notes.
that's true.
No notes.
No notes.
But in our defense, is that from one episode that was chaotic? Because those happen, and we
That
apologize.
was.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, we do have those moments. We sometimes
Like,
drink.
currently, we're in one right now.
alcohol,
Yes,
and
because
we are excited sometimes. So we're
yeah,
we
I
try.
think that episode actually had the same type of sentiment where it's like we hadn't seen each other for a little while, so we were like
Yeah.
also having this moment of like, even though we talk every day,
It's not
like
the
all day
same.
long, it's not the same as seeing one another. So then we see each other, we're just like, and then
Yeah.
Lindsay was presenting and Megan and I got a little crazy, and we all got a little crazy. Anyways, it just
We all know
happens.
how
But,
the story goes.
you know what?
happens.
In saying that, why don't we get started here?
Also,
Oh,
but
okay.
just to let
Nope.
people know, sorry. Okay, I will say if you are someone who doesn't like chaos as much, audio is probably better for you because I do try to cut out some of the chaos
Bless
in
you.
audio,
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
don't do it for video because it's just too much to
'Cause
like.
it's
And we want people to have like an option of seeing everything, but for audio,
Everything.
I do try to like if we're talking over each other, I separate it a little bit. So
Yes,
when you listen to
she
our
does.
audio, if you still think we talk over each other, which we do sometimes, it's so much worse actually. It's actually, so this is audio
That's not what
is
I thought you were gonna
better.
say. It's actually way worse.
To be
Yeah.
honest, in the video, I also
Just a
don't
little
feel like I
worse.
have to separate that out completely because, like, you can see who's talking. It's not like when you're listening to audio and it's just a jumble of people talking over one another. It's like, oh, okay, I can see that Lindsay and Chantal are both saying something, and like then Megan's chiming in halfway through the sentence because that's what we do. Okay, we can't help it.
Yeah, that's
anyways.
unscripted.
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
is it ever? Is it ever? Okay, but let's
so
actually
today-
start for real.
Today is April 2nd, which is National Reconciliation Day. So I guess it's a day to reconcile with those that you probably hurt from your shitty April Fool's jokes or just like whatever.
Oh.
And it's also National Ferret Day, which has
Aw.
neither of those things have anything to do with my topic, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. Just
Ferrets are very cute.
Ferrets.
Little
They are.
tiny
It's like all
weasels,
things
and I
love them.
ferrets.
Cute.
It's about like taking care of them, how you're supposed to care for them, and all that kind of stuff. So
Don't
anyways,
they
get your
destroy
ferrets
things
out.
too? Like they're so cute, but like
Oh, they're so
chaos.
I think
curious.
most rodents are probably not meant to be in the
Yeah.
home, like in
Yeah.
terms of a pet. So yeah, I think they're very destructive, but like they're so adorable.
They are. But in saying that, today we're going to talk about some of the most fascinating, fearsome, and misunderstood creatures of the deep. They are the ocean's apex predators. And no, it's not Shark Week. We're going bigger, we're going smarter, and we're going scarier. We're talking about the orcas,
Oh God,
aka killer
my
whales,
gosh.
baby.
pumped.
So-
Did you guys see that meme that I shared where the orcas are like what does it say? Oh God, I probably should have said it unless I remember what it said. But the acronym was boobs, and it was like big orcas obliterating billionaires or something.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
do remember that one.
Yes,
Yes.
I remember boobs and
Yeah.
whales. Oh,
I always grew up calling them
So-
killer whales, but now I feel like I call them orcas.
Well, orcas is like their technical term. So actually, my first fun fact here is about the nickname of killer whale and how they got that. So it actually came from the 18th century Spanish sailors, and they called
Oh.
them, I'm going to butcher this, asesina balinas, which translates
Sounds
to
cool.
whale killers. And so the reason why
Huh.
they call them whale killers is because they tend to kill whales. Like they'll kill dolphins, they'll kill baby humpbacks. And
Not
so the sailors
babies.
were seeing this and they called them whale killers. But eventually the name got mixed around and they started calling them killer whales.
Okay.
So that's how
Well,
they got that nickname.
The
I
original
never would have
term
found that out
sounds-
on my own.
Sounds so beautiful. Like I did
Yeah.
not picture that.
I
to
know.
be
Asina
killers.
balinas. Like,
My
Yeah.
God. Have you seen those ballinas?
oh my God. But yeah, so we're gonna strap in, we're gonna buckle up. This is gonna be a deep dive and a wild ride of emotions, hence why we're in a glass case of emotion.
Ron
Um,
Burgundy always come in the
but we're
clutch.
gonna get started with some of the more sciencey anatomy based end of it because it is moi, and how
Yeah.
else would I do this? So,
Mm.
orcas are part of a class of animal called cetacean, which includes whales, dolphins, and porpoises. And the word is Latin and Greek roots, which mean either large sea creature or whale or sea monster. So, off to a great creepy factor start with the name.
Love it.
And I'm just going to go through some of facts of them,
Well, facts.
especially anatomy related. Yeah. Orca facts. Before we get to my favorite 2 facts, though, which I think you guys are going to really like as well. So,
Okay.
they have, which a lot of these animals do, what's called a melon organ, which is a fatty lens-like structure in their forehead that focuses sound waves for echolocation. And they can produce clicks, whistles, and other pulsed calls to communicate with other orcas, as well as hunt with extreme precision. They have very unique eyes that are positioned slightly forward and below the corners of their mouths because no, those giant white patches are not their eyes.
Which I always
and
thought as a kid.
Yeah, it's
We all
very
did.
confusing. Orcas.
It is.
It's
It's
actually
like
just too
literally like
much.
below
It's too
and like
much.
just like right here, base.
Like
So
I thought you had a
um,
giant eye this whole time.
I know, and it's just been a
I
fake
feel
out.
lied to, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, very deceiving.
Mm.
Very.
But the placement of their eyes gives them a 300-degree field of vision, and the only blind spot is in front of them, which they make up for with the melon organ. So it helps to fill in those gaps. But what's cool is that they have monocular vision, so it doesn't give them great depth perception because of that. You need binocular vision for that, like us. But it means that they can look at 2 things at once, and it makes their hunting very efficient.
Okay.
So
As
they
in,
don't
can
let
also-
them
this.
Yeah, no. They can't move their eyes independently, but
Well,
like
you said.
they're seeing like, okay, I'm looking left and I'm
Okay.
looking right at the
How
same
does
time.
the brain? Is it like 2
Yeah.
photos in their brain? I wonder how that looks.
So don't let them
Oh.
drive your car is what you're saying.
No,
Okay.
because they won't know when to stop. Maybe.
That's super awkward because my orca friend is using my car right now.
Oh
to
my
run
gosh.
errands.
You better call them.
Well, I
real
hope you have
quick.
insurance.
Mhm. I hope you got Orca insurance.
I do on my boat, but not on my car. It's my fault.
Smart.
I know
Big
now
mistake.
it's my
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
It is. So they can also see in water and out of water very well. In fact, in the same amount. And then their eyes also have a reflective layer behind them, meaning that they can see in the dark better, which is good considering that they can dive up to 1,000 meters, so 3,300 feet, which is the
Damn.
deepest part of the Twilight Zone. So they can go in between those 2 zones.
Can you put a Twilight
Wow.
Zone little tune in there right now?
Yes.
I mean, as long as our editing software provides
So
it.
lets us. I
well.
can probably find it on those free sounds things that I found.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I love how
I mean,
when
it's
you
an
find,
old show. It must be free
It
by
should
now,
be.
right?
I love
Mhm.
how when you find like a the free version, it's not quite right, but like you
No.
know what they're trying to do.
It's like kind of out of tune.
We'll take
Um,
a whatever version we find.
A no frills version.
Yeah. Love no frills. So they can hold their breath for up to 15 minutes, and they do not have autonomic breathing. They actually have to remind themselves to breathe, which, plays a role in sleep. They only have half their brain that goes to sleep so they can know when they can go up and breathe and all that stuff. But they can hold their breath for up to 15 minutes. They can reach speeds of 56 kilometers per hour. So that's 34.5 miles per hour, which is terrifying in the water.
Oh my god.
They are incredibly muscular, but also have a thick blubber layer of 4 inches to keep them warm. The males have the largest dorsal fin in the animal kingdom, which can reach up to 6 feet, 1.8
Oh.
meters.
Damn.
Yeah. And their black tops and white bottoms make them difficult to see from above and below.
Remember when I taught you that one time about
Mhm,
sharks?
You did. Yeah. And their
Science.
white eye patches and their gray patch from behind their dorsal fin are so unique. It's pretty much like their version of a fingerprint that they use to identify each other.
Oh,
That's
okay.
cool.
That's really
Yeah, and
cool.
their flank patch, so the one underneath, helps to distinguish between male and female orcas as well.
Oh,
Yeah, they'll be in
nice.
different shapes. So they have interlocking cone-shaped teeth that are about 4 inches long, but they use this for gripping and not chewing. But this leads me to my first favorite fact,
Oh god.
which is that they have the strongest bite in the animal kingdom. It's
But-
estimated that their bite can be up to 19,000 psi.
Holy fuck.
For reference, a great white shark, is recorded at 4,000 psi.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so
And
that
for
was what
more
I was gonna
reference,
say.
the Challenger Deep is 15,750 psi.
Oh my
the hell?
gosh.
Their
Okay.
psi is stronger than being at the bottom of the Challenger Deep.
Why? Why do they need that?
Now,
What does that
so-
mean?
Your last episode, you talked about being like accidentally eaten by whales. This is one you do not want to be accidentally
yes, you do not want to be accidentally.
accidentally.
But the thing is that they actually don't have a recorded bite for these guys, and the reason is because it's very hard for them to record because this isn't how they typically hunt. And they actually estimate this based off of a study of their jaw size and the size of their muscles. So they did all that, and they said that they can reach a maximum of 19,000 psi. But they tend to grip and not chew and slurp actually, rather than actually chewing or anything
Rude.
like
By
that. So they
slurp,
really,
you mean
they
like
really don't
they're
need.
sucking on whatever juicy bits.
So the fish,
come
they
free.
just slurp it right up.
Okay.
Which actually can lead to a lot of breakdown of the inside of their teeth because the scales rub against them. So you'll see some orcas that have like all these teeth that are really fucked up, and it's just because of the scales like up
Yeah.
against their
I
teeth.
see a
fucking them up.
market.
So orca dentists
I know,
are just
dentists.
like, yeah.
They need to get in on this. But my final favorite anatomy-based fact is that another reason why they don't need to use their full force of their jaw is because they are just so fucking smart. They have the second largest brain of any marine animal in the world, only second to the sperm whale. And you can actually go to the next photo. It is showing you the difference between an orca and a human there. So theirs is 5 times larger than the human brain, which
But they're a lot bigger
makes
than
sense,
us,
given that
too.
they're 23 to 27 feet long. But it's not just the size, because it's the wrinkles, it's the fold, and it's the brain to body ratio that makes their brain size and basically their brain anatomy so amazing.
Wow.
So their intelligence rivals primates. That includes us. Their limbic system, which is the part of the brain that controls emotions, is more complex than ours. That means that they are likely to experience deep social bonds, grief, and even culture. This has been seen in nature because one orca named Teleque has been seen twice over 7 years off the coast of Vancouver performing what is known as a grief swim, where she carried
Oh.
her dead calf with her for 17 days.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
really sad. My question was gonna be like around, did they compare anything to like elephants and orcas? Because I know elephants are like that too, right? Like they're
They
very
are.
emotional.
I think that they still have one of the deepest ones for the animal kingdom, but I can't remember. I didn't look up specifically
Okay,
for
yeah. No,
elephants. Yeah.
it just
But that's a
reminds me
good-
of
yeah.
elephants because
Yeah,
I know
'cause
they
they
do
do have
that
that
and they
too.
remember.
They
and-
mourn, they do all of that stuff. Yeah.
So that's really interesting that orcas are like that as well.
Mhm. So they also teach their young and they pass down hunting techniques, and they have dialects and regional accents unique to
Okay.
their pods.
Sorry, that is actually so freaking
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm like, is there a Cape Breton or orca whale? And everyone's
Probably.
like, what the fuck is he saying?
Maybe you can translate.
Yeah, there you go. They can even recognize themselves in a mirror, which is a sign of self-awareness that you only normally see in great apes, elephants, and some birds. So that's actually the only one that I had to elephants. And of course, they are strategic motherfucking killers. They have been
Kinda like that
observed.
about them though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been observed using bait to lure fish into traps. They create wave attacks to knock seals off of ice.
I've seen that done.
And when hunting
Not in
the
person,
great
sorry.
white sharks, they go straight for the liver because that's where they know all the energy-rich oils are, and they surgically remove it with astonishing precision. And how do they know to do that?
Yeah.
We don't fucking know, but they do.
Because they're like clicking and whistling and saying,
They
like,
went
so
to
here's what you
orca
do.
school.
They went to Orca medical school and found out where the shark liver was. But they don't eat the rest of the shark. They just eat the liver because the shark skin is too tough. So they just go for the part that's like, this is good enough. This gives me everything that I need.
It's all my
then they leave
vitamins
the
for the
rest of
day.
the body, essentially. And then the off the coast of Australia, they have all these sharks that wash up all the time with like just their liver missing. Yeah.
That's very
Scary.
like Dexter energy.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can
I
go
mean,
to the
I think
next
it's a little
photo.
wasteful as well.
Yeah,
Like
it is. I mean, other animals could get to it before it washed up, though. So I mean,
And
it's not like
also, I feel
they're letting people have their
like they have
leftovers.
nothing on humans, so they're
No.
fine.
right. We are way worse. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Orcas.
So the next photo here is just something so that you can look at some pretty orcas, but it really doesn't have anything to do with the rest of my sentence.
I'm
But
hearing Michael
Look
Jackson
at
in my
that
head.
air.
I
Yeah.
know, right?
Air Jordan.
They are good at what
That-
this, that's for sure. And it's in the open ocean. They're not being forced into doing this, which is great. So orcas are found in literally every single ocean
They're
on
just,
Earth.
this was just like, we're
This was
doing
just
this for
out and
fun.
about.
We're not showing
Yeah.
off. This is just
It's
an
just
average
a Sunday
day.
afternoon.
Maybe they are showing
They're-
off. Actually, you know,
Maybe. They're in unison. This
they
is
do
synchronized
seem-
swimming.
Yeah, they
So
do seem a
someone
bit
actually
like a
called
show-off.
and said, I think I saw Nat Geo, but I'm not positive. But if you want to go to Bay, whatever, I think that's a bunch of researchers. I don't know.
I think we should just start jumping. I don't know. I think it's gonna go viral. Okay.
Reggie, do a backflip. They love that shit.
This is all the craze on TikTok right now. Let's go.
And there's also
It's
a
going
yacht club
viral.
that we can go and
Yeah.
just like destroy some boats if you want later. No
There we
big
go.
deal.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, we get into
Perfect,
that. Don't
perfect
worry.
date night.
I know. So romantic.
So they're found in the tropic waters to icy Antarctic waters. They're found everywhere. The wine is going to get me already. But
They're
what
found
they
everywhere.
eat, but what they eat depends entirely on where they live, and they aren't all eating great white sharks. I made myself a little abbreviation. I forgot what my abbreviation was.
See, it happens.
Go
This is
well.
Lindsay
Go well.
energy.
Lindsay 2.0 here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Pacific Northwest orcas, they are the ones that tend to stick to fish, especially salmon. Then we have the transient orcas, which are also known as Biggs orcas, and they are found off the west coast of Canada. And
Yeah.
these are normally mammal hunters. So they're the ones that'll take down the seals, they'll take down porpoises, they'll take down dolphins, they'll even eat baby whale calves.
Okay.
Don't
like
and they
that.
I was like,
stalk
how
their
are they
prey.
getting cows in the ocean? I forgot.
They stalk their prey in total silence, like underwater serial killers.
That's so creepy.
Antarctica oceans also hunt seals and sometimes penguins. This is where they'll use the launching wave attacks to send them off the icebergs and into the water where they're vulnerable, obviously, because orcas are strong and fucking fast.
Probably way
and-
faster too, right?
Yes. And then you have offshore orcas. And this group is the one that we know the least amount about. They live in deep water, and these are the ones that eat sharks. And they're rarely seen by humans, so they're kind of like a mystery and possibly the deadliest of orcas. So I think it's really important that we're going to lightly talk about their social aspects. Because then I'm going to get into the captivity. So we're going to get sad for a little bit, but the social aspects, you know, sometimes they're social, sometimes they're not. But let's really get into it because orcas usually live in tight-knit family pods led by the matriarch of it. Yes.
Yes.
Women in STEM. So in some groups, males stay with their mothers for life. They are typically called resident orcas. Yeah, it's just
Sorry, I just
a bunch of men living in their mom's basements.
I mean,
and-
if my son never wants to leave me, I'm fine with that. Okay.
Lindsay, you're
you
such
say
an
that now.
orca.
In 18
God.
I'm
years,
such an
I think
orca.
you'll be singing a different tune.
Yeah, I'm like, once if he's like 30, I'm like, get out. Just kidding.
Be like, I
for
didn't
now.
do this right.
that actually it'll
Um,
be more like over time you build this like deep resentment and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you just blow up. But you've been feeling that way for years. It's a classic
exactly what
orca
happens.
tale.
I know.
It's a tale as old as time. Then we have the transient orcas, which are the mammal-eating orcas, and they tend to live in smaller pods of about 2 to 6, normally consisting of the mother and their calves, their offspring at the time. The males here may travel alone more often, but they're still seen kind of maintaining occasional connections. So they'll kind of like come and go. I think that's why
That
they
seems
call them
more
transient
normal.
orcas. Like they'll just kind of like, you know, they'll come over for like family dinner time to time or for
Sundays,
Easter or,
holidays.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. Antarctica
For the important
and North
events.
the important events, yeah.
Yeah.
Antarctic and North Atlantic orcas tend to have more fluid pod structure where they'll separate and come back together as well. And they have like temporary social groups that they'll have. So sometimes this is for hunting, sometimes it's for mating, and sometimes it's just because they feel like hanging out that day.
It's like your work friends, the friends you had in university.
Yeah, exactly.
This is my
But
hiking group. Sorry.
Yeah.
one of the largest pods, you can actually go to the next photo. This is what's called L pod of the southern resident killer whales, and they had
Baby.
35 orcas in their pod. And this is one of the mothers and her little baby there from L pod specifically.
I love the
So it is
babies.
very, 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 very rare for orcas to be completely solo. It normally occurs because most to all of their pod have died or they've been separated from their pod somehow,
Hmm.
which was the case for an orca named Luna off Nuktuk Sound in Canada. And she was separated at a very young age. She
Mm.
did tragically die at the age of 7 after being fatally injured by a tugboat propeller, which was something
Oh.
that they were worried about because she was very social. She was always he was very social and he was always trying to be friendly with people and boats. So they did try to relocate him, but they were unsuccessful. And so it really wasn't a
Mm.
surprise that the accident occurred.
Oh,
But it
That's
just
so
goes to show that
sad.
it's not very rare. Also, sometimes Pacific Northwest orcas will oh, sorry, this is something different.
oh,
This is funny.
because that's
Okay,
not how
so
I was
That's not how
sad.
this was going. Right.
Okay.
I didn't want to end this on a sad note. So I didn't really know where to put this, but sometimes Pacific Northwest orcas will wear salmons on their heads like
Oh,
hats.
I
And so
heard this.
that's
I
in the
heard
next
I
photo.
never knew this.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you're going to go all through it, but I think I read
So the
about it,
next
and
photo
then Wine
here.
and Crime brought it up too.
Yeah, so
What
this
the
was
fuck?
first seen in 1987, and then it wasn't seen again until 2024, so just last year.
Fashion
So
cyclical, you guys.
science
Wow.
don't know. Yeah, right?
Fashion
Yeah, everything
comes back.
trends
Coming
come back.
Yeah. So, scientists don't really know exactly why they do this. The theories vary from them liking the
Fashion.
smell of dead fish to it being a form of
It's like
communication
perfume.
about food abundance to play to just showing off like, hey, I got so much food I don't even need to eat this one. I just wear it on my head. Like
The salmon. Oh, you
oh
noticed?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's from my collection. They literally don't know why they do this.
Wow.
But there's a
I
bunch of
love
pictures of orcas wearing
So you
salmons on
see,
their hat.
so serial killers can, be so there's so many more dimensions than just
Yeah.
killing seals and
Yeah.
billionaires. They have a fashion sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Is this
some
any
orcas are just
different
silly.
than someone wearing a fur coat?
No,
It's really not. It is just their
Just
version
saying.
of it.
it's actually funnier because it makes less sense.
And
Yeah.
he's probably going to eat it after too. So you're still
Yeah, like,
using
do
that.
they
You know
eat the
what?
salmon
That's
animal for
really
all its-
actually
yeah.
I don't know if they do or not because like I said they sometimes think that this could just be like they just have so much they're just like fuck it I'm just going to put this on my head. Like
I've had one of those days. I really need to pick me up. I'm just gonna pop the salmon on my head and just.
It's
I-
like when
I
your
wa- I wanna
grandpa
feel
says he's
good.
saving the food in his beard for later. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Because
Yeah.
it could also be very
Some
much
tater
like
tots in
a
your
like a
pocket or
chipmunk.
something.
yeah, exactly. Just give me your tots.
Gosh. It all comes back.
Yeah.
We can bring anything back to anything we want if we know where we're
Right.
going. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so. I just really want sushi now too. Salmon.
I know,
love
right?
salmon. Oh,
Freaking love
So
salmon.
I'm gonna bring us down for a little bit. But
I
then I'll
knew
bring
you
us
would.
back up. Okay. So
roller coaster.
obviously this is the glass case of emotions. So obviously I had to touch on one of the saddest orca stories in recent history, and this took place in our very own backyard. And her name was Kiska, and she is in the next photo there. And she has the unfortunate moniker of the loneliest whale in the world.
Oh my god.
Hmm.
Kiska was taken from the wild in the 1970s and spent over 40 years in a tank. And she spent
my
most of her
God.
time completely alone
Oh.
until her passing on March 9th, just 2023, 2 years ago,
Damn.
wow.
from a bacterial infection.
Poor baby.
Now, she wasn't always alone. She was housed for a long time with Kieko, which is the star from Free Willy.
Aw.
She was originally both in Iceland together before they moved to Marineland together, but Kieko was later sent to another aquarium a couple of years after that. And Kieko was actually one of the only captive orcas to ever be re-released into the wild, and this was in 2002, but unfortunately he died a year later of pneumonia in Iceland.
Oh,
So
wow.
over the years, Kiska did have some other bathmates who were also mostly her children. She had 6 in total. Her first baby didn't even live long enough to get a name.
What the
And her
hell?
next, so she had 5 in total. And her next 4 were Canuck, Nova, Hudson, and Athena. But none of her children survived past the age of 6.
Why?
That's so sad.
Just likely
Just
the
captivity,
setting
like, you know,
that they were
yeah.
in. Ikaika was her other housemate, and he was born in captivity. He was actually the son of Tilikum
Oh,
and was transferred to Marineland for breeding. And Ikaika left Marineland in 2011, and after that, Kiska was alone until her death. So she was completely
my
alone
God.
from 2011 till 2023.
oh my god.
So
So
just
her only
imagine being a
interaction is
social
with
creature,
like
humans.
humans, which is not going to give you
Yeah.
the same interaction you would have, obviously.
So you're this social creature designed for, ocean travel. You're cut off from your family. You're
hundreds and
forced to
hundreds
perform
of
for food,
kilometers, and now
and you
you're in
live in a
this little
bathtub.
That's so
Which
sad.
is a
Oh,
lot of times why they say their tail
dorsal
actually
fins.
curves, because they're not swimming enough. Apparently, the warm waters can also cause them to curve too. That's why sometimes you do see it in the wild. There's actually this
Okay.
pair of orcas. I forget where I was reading about them, but one's called port and one's called starboard because they stay
Aw.
together, but both of their
I think I've heard of these
fins
For
ones.
those
go in
that
opposite
don't
ways.
know, those are boat
But
terminology. So
Yes,
in
if you've been
case
paying
you
attention
knew.
to our other
just
episodes.
it's okay if you don't know. I mean, not everyone does. So
We'll go over to our boat anatomy episode.
I watch Below Deck,
Right.
so I know
Which
what
we
you
will
mean.
get to. Yeah.
I just always remember that port is left because it's also 4 letters. That's how I remember that one.
Yeah, I'm like
Oh,
I'm trying to think. I'm like, do I even know which one is
I-
which?
No, I can tell you that
It
is
was
a fact.
drilled into me in like gym
In-
class when I was a kid because we had a game where we're like,
Oh, I thought you were
run
gonna
to
say in your
port, and
sailing
we
was like,
like
in
ran
gym
over to the
class.
left, and then we're like,
Yeah, I
run
thought you-
starboard, and you run to the right. Yeah.
No, it's
So-
not your sailing course that you were forced
Slide
to
to
take
the
'cause your
starboard.
children
No, not
wanted-
that one.
Slide to the
Your
port.
Don't
children,
even-
your parents wanted you away for a while.
Yeah, where I was forced into captivity.
I like how you learned it in gym, but not when you were like on sailboats. That's
No,
what
we
I
did.
find.
But but I already knew it from gym. I already knew it. So
Oh, fair.
yeah, bow, stern,
Um,
starboard, port.
So
Aft.
thankfully,
Aft?
most. Okay, stop.
Sorry. Camera time.
Gonna keep us in.
Real
That guy is just proving us right.
That
we
guy
can't
is
stand
just
positive.
he's on here just hate listening to us. Calling
I
us
am
NPR.
specifically editing to this, so there's no distractions.
Please
Making
don't.
this person wrong. Just kidding.
Thankfully, most countries have put in laws making it illegal now to have orcas in captivity if it's not for rehabilitation purposes. So it actually was in 1990 that the UK started putting these laws into regulations. They put certain things into place saying they couldn't house this type of animal. Mexico banned capturing of marine mammals in 2015.
Awesome.
Facilities that have them already obviously in captivity were allowed to keep them if they couldn't be put
Right.
back into the wild, because a lot of these guys can't, but they are banned from breeding them. The US doesn't have a cohesive decision, and it's different from state to state. California actually was the one to pass it in called the Orca Protection Act in 2016, banning the use of orcas for entertainment purposes.
Oh, that's good.
Once again, they were still allowed
Mhm.
to keep whatever's in captivity if they weren't able to safely release them.
Okay.
And
So
Canada-
SeaWorld is still doing
SeaWorld
shows
in
with
Florida, actually,
them?
I don't know if I think they might be allowed to.
I have no
Um,
idea why the states likes to do things state by state. That to me
Yeah.
makes almost no sense. I know that for some states it won't matter as much, but because not every state will have
Well, they're the
like a
United
marine.
States, so they like to make their own laws state
So
by state.
SeaWorld ended its orca breeding program and stopped all importation of additional orcas. So basically what they
Okay.
have is what they have, but it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like they stopped them from being able to still use them. SeaWorld states
Okay.
that its goal is to inspire and educate guests to take action by seeing the magnificent animals up close to better understand why protecting wildlife and our environment is so critical today.
But like we kidnap these whales so you can learn about them instead of
And put
maybe
them in
just
a
like
bathtub.
showing. Like there's lots
Yeah.
of ways you can interact, and if it's media or if it's I don't know, there's all kinds of other ways that you could do it. I mean,
Mhm.
okay, so
Mhm.
dinosaurs, they're all dead. Yet when you go and you look at a dinosaur exhibit, are you like, oh man, I wish that these were real. Like, no, there's ways
Yeah.
to interact with.
Which obviously is what they're leaning towards now. So it
Yeah.
even sounds like
Yeah.
Florida is starting to implement those things as well. And more countries are working on changing the laws, and more states are working on changing their laws, because obviously ever since like Blackfish and just more activists coming out about it and them realizing like, you're right, this is actually a really shitty thing to
Yeah.
do.
Right.
That there's just like, we're seeing this wave of change. No pun
Wave
intended.
of change. Sorry.
But yeah, it's just the entertainment laws around it are really changing. I think Asia is one of the areas that doesn't have laws around it, but once again, they're still seeing like a huge decline in it. I think when we went to Cuba, Megan, didn't they have dolphins or
And
something
we
in this one
were
part that we went to, and
so
we were
bummed
like,
out,
oh,
and we
we're
didn't
not
go.
doing this. Yeah, we
They
went.
were
It was
like,
like
"Oh,
this
get
thing
in
that
the
was all
water."
together.
Yeah,
And
like
you could
kiss
get into
the
the water with the
dolphin.
dolphins if you wanted to, and we were all like, no, like
It bummed me out
They
so
took us
much.
to this place for lunch after this like catamaran
Oh,
day, and it happened to
okay.
have dolphins, and we were like, we're not gonna do this.
And they were like in captivity. They weren't like
Oh,
in
yeah.
the ocean.
Yeah. Oh, it was so.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I remember just watching them. Just remember the
Oh,
one
yeah.
guy, he was going around in circles and circles
Yeah,
and circles.
there
and
was
circles.
like
It was just,
the above ground pools, like you've seen like the round above ground pools that sit on the grass. So it was about that size, like
they were
not
in the
large.
water
not-
though.
Yeah,
They
no,
were
no, it was
in
in the water, but it was like this smaller
Yeah,
like
so
round
small for
tank, and this
them.
guy was by himself,
Oh my god.
just like
Just like
doing like a
swimming,
lap.
swimming. Yeah, it was really
Yeah,
sad.
I think
Really
we even like
sad.
not we like cried maybe. We were kind of dramatic.
Yeah, I
about
think
it.
we did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we cried a bit.
Let's
Anywho.
you know what? R.I.P. Kiska though. So the loneliest whale in the world is now swimming up in heaven.
She's in that ocean in the sky, just killing
Mhm.
seals, having the time of her life
Yeah.
with her salmon hat.
Yeah.
Mm. I hope she has a
But
Mm-hmm.
salmon
now
hat.
we're
That's
gonna
really
get.
sad though.
Hope she has
You
two
can go to the
salmon
next
hats.
photo so you can get off Kiska. I just like this photo. It literally has nothing to do with it. It just looks like a
Aw.
whale laughing or orca laughing. So
Menacingly, or
we're gonna actually get to the part that we've been waiting for, which is the revenge of the orcas.
eat the rich.
So I want to start this off by stating that there has never been any deaths to humans by orcas in the wild.
Yet.
Yet. And let's face it, from everything we already learned, they could easily do it.
Yeah.
So
If-
yeah,
if
it
they
is-
wanted
it
to,
is
they
kind of a
would.
yes.
They've
Yeah.
chosen to give us mercy, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yes.
The Are we
Exactly.
gonna have a new like orca religion where we pray to orcas? 'Cause I'm fine.
I'm
I'm
okay
fine.
with this. Yeah.
The Church of
I will
Orca.
make a
Um,
salmon hats. I'll make a note. Hold on.
Oh, can you please? I want a trucker hat with a
origins.
salmon on top of it. One of those ones, where the salmon like
Chantal,
sings, that they have on
you're
the
not
wall.
better.
Oh, I used to love those.
Don't worry.
Be
So
happy.
those are actually bass, but I'm sure that they can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
have a
we can
salmon
make one in salmon.
Yeah.
For sure.
Chantal,
Okay.
you have to commit fully and wear a real salmon. None of the
Oh,
salmon
you're
trucker
right. You're right.
hat
I gotta love
bullshit.
that dead
No.
fish smell. I'll get dead fish perfume. Can we sell dead fish perfume? Coast Files.
on it.
Branded. No
Branded.
one else
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah.
Please.
As Em and Christine would say, TM, TM, TM.
TM,
Yes.
TM.
Mhm.
Yeah,
our
I don't think we have
idea.
to fight for that TM.
It'll be
we're okay.
available.
Although, okay, nobody else seems to remember this, but I remember at one point, I was like a teenager or something at the time, maybe early 20s, and Shoppers had this whole line of perfumes that were like puddle and like grass, and like it was just these really weird like I was
Nature
gonna say flavors,
scents.
but it was like scents, yeah, like
now,
wood.
could this have been a dream?
No, it
Yeah, I don't-
definitely wasn't, because I
This
remember
doesn't
smelling it
seem
and being
real.
like, this is weird.
Fresh cut.
Okay, you know what? If
By
anybody else remembers that,
Shoppers.
reach out to us. Otherwise, I'm gonna go on some research. on that.
Otherwise, Dream Chantal will check back in.
You know what? I do have sleep paralysis, so we can't completely rule it out.
Can you imagine? You are frozen. You are having some kind of sleep paralysis attack, and someone's like, "Would you like to sample our grass cologne? There's a $5 coupon if you purchase right now from me."
Yes, I can imagine
It's possible. We all have sleep
yeah.
disorders, so who knows?
Yeah.
I
But
just
I
just
do want to
don't
know now.
sometimes.
about
Lindsay's
this.
at Shoppers while she's asleep.
Yeah, I'd actually be there.
just standing
Testing
kind
out
of
the
like,
grass clone.
oh, okay. What if in your dream it's Lindsay? It's like, Chantal, I know that you love the mud.
It's true.
scent. It's
You
so
live with
good."
me for 2.5 years, Chantal. I could have done this to you. Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe that's where I got it from. And then it just like became this deep core memory all of a sudden.
I just
Yes.
keep laughing because that guy on YouTube is so right, and I hate that he's so right.
I love it.
Most
You know what? I
accurate
was actually
review.
because yes, I listen to our own episodes. I was listening to us on Spotify today, and I was like, "We're hilarious." Okay,
It's
I love
like
this.
I laugh listening to us.
I
Which I'm
love
like, is
us.
that some kind of like
Yeah.
narcissism? Like, what is that?
I know. Like I've gotten to the point now where I don't hate listening to my own voice. I'm like, Chantel, you did so good this time.
That is a fair sentiment because I don't hate my voice anymore either. I mean, because same to you,
Yeah.
Chantal. I listen to it and I have to edit, so I'm
Yeah.
used to it.
And
But
I'm like,
'cause
you know what? 5 stars.
Yeah.
5 stars.
Every
Your
time.
voice doesn't sound the same in your head as it does when you hear it. So the
No.
first few episodes were really hard to listen to because
yes.
I was like, who the
you're
fuck
just
is
like,
that?
Who is this?
Yeah.
There was one time I left a voicemail for my parents, and when I came home, this was back in high school, I was like, who is this person that left a voicemail for my parents? She has the wrong number. What's
How do
going
you know
on?
so much? Who is
So
this?
it was a couple days later, I was listening to it. I'm like, I did not realize until at least a couple minutes later that it was me. Did not realize. That's
so
how
good.
I didn't know
love
my own
that.
voice.
Oh, that's funny.
That's great. That's
Ugh.
great. Now, though, I feel like we also listen to because, if I send you guys a voice note, you better believe I listen to that back to make sure did I say everything correctly.
Oh, I never do
especially
that.
if I'm high. Oh no, I have
do
to. I'm like,
sometimes, too.
Did I make sure that it made sense?
I
I listen
will
to like 2-speed.
I'll be
But,
leaving I'll be leaving a voice memo and I'll start coughing halfway through. I'll come
Oh,
back.
yeah.
I'm like, sorry,
I
I
love
had a
your
coughing
voice
fit.
memos
I'm
that
back.
just all of a sudden stop for no reason. I'm like, what
know.
happened?
Mine usually
sometimes
stop
I'll,
because-
I'll laugh, tell you a joke, and I have to stop.
Or you're
and-
like, oh, sorry, I saw a chipmunk and I needed to take a picture. Like,
Yeah.
no,
That's
you don't
valid.
have
I
ADHD,
know.
Megan.
Mine are usually there's a child screaming suddenly, so I have to stop.
Yeah.
I
and
love
come
yours
back.
because Lindsay will have such a great thing to say, and meanwhile, someone's like, Mom, and you just are talking through. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
be strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mommy's on
I'm
the
like-
phone.
Right.
Ugh.
I know what they want. They want some type of treat or something. I'm like,
It's
you can
always
wait
You're like,
treat.
I'm
2
working on it,
seconds.
okay?
Yeah, I'm literally getting it for you as I talk and leave my voice note for my besties.
How many times when you were a kid was your mom on the phone and you were actively bleeding and she's like, shh, I'm on the phone, and you're like,
Okay.
fine, I guess I'll just go fuck myself.
I only remember one time, and it wasn't so. Okay, I have a scar on my lip. Most people don't even notice that I have it there, but I was bit by one of our cats when I was young because I think you guys know this. I was
Probably
like holding
squeezed
her.
them.
I had to take a nap. It was nap time,
We've
and I was
all been
holding. I
there.
wanted the cat to stay with me, and so she was like, "I want to go away." So she
Consent,
bit me.
Chantel. Consent.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that at 4 years old. But I had already gotten in trouble for getting out of bed multiple times. And my mom was like cleaning the house. Because this is what my mom did when we took a nap, was she would play music really loud and clean the house because she was like, you are learning to sleep through anything.
That is such a 90s mom. This
Which is great
like-
because now I can. I've
Yeah.
literally slept through hurricanes. I slept through an tornado. I can sleep through anything most of the time.
Right.
When I can't sleep, there's absolutely no reason. It's like, oh, the room's too quiet. So anyways, the cat bit me and I was like, I remember grabbing the blanket and putting it up against my lip, being like, that hurt. And I'm like, okay, no blood, I'm good. And then I did it again. I'm like, there's blood. And then I'm like, okay, well, I've already been told I can't get out of bed. So what do I do here?
I'm going to sleep through being viciously attacked by this cat. That's fine.
So I
No
stayed in
problem.
bed and I kept screaming for my mom, being like, okay, well, I can't leave bed, so I'll just yell for her from here.
Oh.
And eventually she turned off the vacuum.
Celine
And
Dion.
was like no, the vacuum,
The
not even the
Celine
music.
Dion's
And she came
blasting.
in and she was like, oh my God. And this was the time of pagers, so she had to page my father. To be like,
So he
come
put a
home,
quarter in
because
the
he
rotary
was-
phone.
he was out with my brother because we only had one car to be like, we have to bring I don't know if I went to the hospital or to the doctor because that was
Yeah.
the time when the family doctor used to come to the house too. So what
Just
year was I
BS,
born
This
in?
is in the 90s. This is not in the 1890s.
I actually,
okay?
my kid's
But I
doctor
was in Nova
office
Scotia.
will do house calls. I've just never
Yeah.
contemplated doing that. I'm like, does that people actually do that?
He
I
did
don't
them a couple times. I passed out from
Yeah.
getting my thumb stuck in a door before from the pain. And so I remember
Yeah.
waking up and the doctor was next to the couch checking out my thumb. Anyways, so yeah, we took it. I needed 3 stitches. But yeah, that was one of those times where you're like, don't
Well-
interrupt mom with what she's doing. But I'm sure there were other times that I was screaming at her while she was on the phone. So
Yeah, so you probably should have gotten up.
Yeah.
But kids don't know. And we get to the point where we're
They-
like, well, I'm gonna get in trouble if I get out of bed. Not
Kids
Chantal,
are
your lip
very-
is bleeding.
Yeah,
very
hang
literal
on.
with rules. Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
the
Very black and
rule
white.
is don't do this, then they think it's blanket for every situation, which is
Mm-hmm.
hard as a parent now to be like, here's when there's exceptions. And like my kid is like, what? But you said don't do. I'm like, okay, but
Yeah.
sometimes, yes.
Oh,
And then
sorry,
I have to.
These are too
famous.
literal.
Famous,
Yeah.
and Lindsay, you have kids. So when
Mhm.
kids are on that cusp of like free under 5, and you're like,
Mhm.
okay, say that you're 5, but I'm not 5, I'm 6.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I want to save $12. Say
I
that you're
know.
5.
Oh my God, I've had to do it with Grace. He's so bad at
Yeah,
lying.
because he's
Just
honest, and you're like, no, you don't understand. This
oh
is a
my
gray area.
gosh, he's
Okay.
very specific. Actually, so this is kind of funny. We
Not
can
to
cut
mention they
this
want to
later.
be that age. They're
Yeah.
like, I'm older now.
Right. So
Okay.
my son is really into space right now. So we read this book from school about the solar system and the creation of the solar system. And then it also touched on the end of the solar system, that in like over 1 billion years from now, it might be too
Awkward.
hot on Earth to live. And so
Mhm.
Grayson's like, everyone's going to die. I'm like, yes, but don't worry. You'll be long gone by then.
But
It
you'll
won't be, it
already
won't
be
be,
dead.
I know we won't be here for that. He's like, so I'm going to die. I'm like, oh shit.
I'm
like-
sorry. So is this like a Hector conversation?
I was like,
Grayson,
well,
you'll be dead. It's okay.
I'm like, but people can live to be like 100 years old. He's like, only 100.
oh,
I'm like,
no.
oh my God. Well, some people live to over 100. And so we're looking up the oldest people. And I was
Oh
like,
my
the oldest
God.
person ever recorded to have lived is 122. So I'm like, that's a lot of time. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
so people can't live beyond that. Like, I'm like, well, like maybe by the time you're older. So
You're
anyway,
that age, yeah.
it just got like a rabbit hole, like going worse
God.
and worse. And I was trying to
You're like, you weren't
reassure him
ready
that
for
he
this
wouldn't be
book.
around for the Earth to like, for the sun to become a
Explode.
red, a red giant and like engulf Earth. I'm like, that's
Mhm.
billions of years away. But
But,
he's
like, also,
just
Grayson-
been faced with mortality now. So
You better hope that you're there, because that's going to be really cool to see at the same time. Like, you'll be like 1 billion-year-old sitting on your deck watching the world just
If we even
Like,
have
yeah.
decks, then
Yeah.
maybe decks are not like what the
So I'm
fuck's
just
a
like,
deck?
You'll
that's
just
why
be floating in
space
space at that
exploration
time.
is important. So we might need another planet one day. I'm like, it'll be fine,
Mhm.
Grace, and by then we'll have figured out how to get
From
to those other
every
planets.
alien movie I've seen, colonization never goes well.
Well,
and
saying.
from history, just saying, it
Well,
always
in
comes
general.
back to bite us in the ass. 'Cause,
Karma,
like, it
am I
should.
right?
Karma, yeah. Okay,
Back to whales.
Back
Fuck,
to
I
let's get back
did
into
it again.
this is my last little section here, and
Okay.
it's the best section. So,
okay.
since 2020, a group of orcas in the Strait of Gibraltar. I can't say this word.
Yeah.
Yes, remember that's
you got
where
it.
Yes, I
the Mary
know.
Celeste
Yeah.
was going.
So they've been ramming and disabling and even sinking boats since 2020. And at least 4 boats have been completely sunk, and dozens more have been attacked. And these aren't just random little bumps that are happening. They are targeting the rudders and repeatedly striking and biting them until the boats can't function anymore. Even more wild is that this behavior is being taught. And one orca in particular, a female named White Gladys. So if you go into the next photo here,
I already
have-
love her.
we have White Gladys and Black Gladys here. So Black Gladys is
Okay.
at the forefront and White Gladys is in the back. But she is the matriarch of this pod, and she is the one that has been starting the trend. And now younger orcas in her pod are also copying her, which is why we're seeing it more and more. And scientists aren't entirely sure why it's happening, but the theory is, and this is my favorite theory, is that it's revenge. Some believe that she may have had a traumatic encounter with a boat, likely while pregnant, and is now leading an orca uprising.
You
I'm
do
so,
not mess
like,
with a pregnant woman.
Just
No,
tell
don't
me
do
I'm
it.
there. I want to
Yeah.
help.
So another possible explanation is that they are using the boats and destroying them as hunting practice
There we
for
go.
larger targets such as bottlenose dolphins, which were already on there. And they also have a new fan favorite, which is Atlantic bluefin tuna that they've recently got a taste
Tuna
for.
are actually so much larger than I ever could have possibly conceived.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
some
they're
tuna
so
are
strong and so
huge.
fast.
And like
Yes.
yeah, and just dangerous. Like I mean, I've seen some videos
Yeah.
now. If you try to catch a tuna, it's
Catch
like
it,
you could
and
actually
especially
die.
when they're free catching it, not net catching it, which is what you want if you're buying tuna, by the
Yeah.
way.
Okay.
They like throw them in, and they have these long like snouts on them, and they're like stabbing
Well,
at people. Like,
swords,
swords, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
and then
It's part of their
but
snout.
even just like their fin on top, like everything's very sharp.
Oh,
They
yeah,
they're very
everything's sharp.
fish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fish.
they're
I can't speak.
pointy. Yeah.
So-
Before you continue, because I'm also like I'm so pumped. I love this.
Mhm.
Don't forget episode 38, the Lost at Sea episode. their boat was attacked by orcas.
Yes. Yeah,
Now, they
right. That's
weren't
right.
Yes.
billionaires. I think it was just
No.
like people looking for a fight. There's really no reason, but
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about
and that was in the
Mm.
70s.
So the Bottlenose Dolphin Research Institute supports this theory of them using it as target practice. I've had too much wine now. Because the boats are normally similar in size and speed as the prey. So that's why they think that that's why they're using it as practice, because it's like, oh, well, this is kind of like it. Let's use this, teach my kids how to do this. And then
But they're like killing for sport. Damn.
not when they kill dolphins.
Yeah.
They're killing a boat. No, they're not killing for sport. They kill to eat the
Yeah.
dolphins.
Okay.
They eat them.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying practice, so in my mind.
No.
Like,
They're using practice on the boats to
Okay.
kill the dolphins.
The
so
training.
I've also
Yeah.
had rum, and that could explain what just happened.
Yes.
I like it. Okay.
Rum can be a scapegoat for you for
It
sure.
sneaks up on you.
It's
I think every time it's gone downhill, it's because of the rum.
You know what? Every time rum does this to me, it's sneaking up on me. I just can't predict it.
It's so
know.
weird.
It's so weird. It happens every time I drink rum. It's just so
I just
unexpected.
can't put my finger on it. There's something
it-
going on.
Something right
Yeah.
there.
Why is the rum gone?
Why is the
Why
rum
is the
always
rum
gone?
gone?
Again, no personality.
No,
It's only from
no,
movies.
yeah.
Anyway, continue.
No. Sorry.
So we have seen this in the news recently. I'm sure you guys have. But here's a quick rundown of some recent attacks from 2023 to 2024. So August 2023, a Belgian couple's yacht was attacked by a group of 11 orcas near.
Whoa.
I'm gonna butcher this, and I apologize to the one person who commented on our Spotify recently saying that I couldn't say a Spanish name. I know I can't. Corona Glacia in Spain, and the orcas repeatedly rammed the yacht's rudder, causing significant damage. October 31st, 2023, the yacht Grazia Mama 2 encountered a pod of orcas near the entrance of the port of Tangermed in Morocco, and the orcas interacted with the yacht for 45 minutes, damaging the rudder
wow.
and causing leaks. The vessel did ultimately sink.
Oh my god.
Sank.
It sank.
However, no humans
is-
were harmed.
Okay, good.
Okay.
They are merciful. Those
They
orcas.
They are benevolent gods. I can't even say. It's fucking rum.
May 12th, 2024, the Spanish yacht Albaran Cognac was attacked by orcas in the Strait of Gibraltar, which is between Spain and Morocco, in case I don't know if we said that before. Anyways, the vessel sustained damage and subsequently sank. Both
Damn.
individuals on board, though, were rescued by a nearby tanker. And July 26, 2024, a British sailing yacht, Bonamy William, was sunk by orcas in the Strait of Gibraltar as well. All 3 people on board were rescued by the Spanish Coast Guards. And finally, August 25th, 2024, a 2-person crew of Belgians on the Medalla off Cope Finestre, which is off the
Nailed
coast of
it.
Spain. They were left stranded after an unknown amount of orcas in a pod used it as target practice, severely damaging the boat. Unfortunately for these guys, the rescue was a bit tumultuous as well because of bad weather and 10-foot waves and 40-mile-per-hour winds that happened.
That's
so
scary.
they
Wow.
did eventually get rescued. It just was like the timing was really shitty.
I
of the
imagine that
orcas
must
to
have
use this.
been terrifying.
Yeah. So, in conclusion, orcas are not just their moniker. They're intelligent, they're strategic, they're deeply emotional, social creatures with the ability to learn, remember, and even pass down new behaviors. They are some of the most formidable predators in the ocean, and yet, despite their power, they don't attack humans in the wild. Even though they can outthink you, they can definitely outswim you, and they can teach their friends how to take you down. And they do remember. They got a good fucking memory. So if I was going to put my money on it, I'd put my money on orcas. But that is
Wow.
our deep dive into the orcas.
Wow. That
I
was
have more
incredible.
respect for them than I ever
I'm
had
just
before.
so grateful for their mercy, really.
Yes.
At the end
They
of the day,
choose
yeah.
to not murder us.
I mean,
Humans were terrible. Like,
I wonder, I mean, I don't want to think this would happen. So they're attacking these yachts. If people were to get into the water, like, do you think that they would try to?
It doesn't seem like it. It doesn't even seem like we're on their radar at all. Like, they
Yeah.
don't even care. They're just like, okay, child, attack this. This is what you go for. It's almost like saying like go for the jugular. Like they're like go for the
Yeah.
rudder,
Yeah.
dismantle it. So I think it's just a matter of, like they said, normally at this point, there is a video that you can see. It is kind of scary to see what these people were going through as these orcas were
Yeah.
attacking the rudder over and over and over again. Like they don't care if it's going, they don't care if it's on, they don't care about anything. They're just going after it to take it down. I think that they just see speed and they see power and they're like, okay, baby, let me show you how to do this. And so they just use it as target practice.
It's such a crazy phenomenon. These animals are
Hmm.
incredible, and
Yeah.
it makes me extremely sad. Like you covered a little bit on, I can never say the name. I don't know if it's like an Inuit name, but the Tikillikum, the
Tilikum. Yeah.
Tillicum, and
Mm.
how so whales like him and other animals have actually killed trainers in captivity, and it's
Hmm.
because they are very
They're
likely,
upset.
well, they're very smart. They're either as smart as us, if not smarter, and they probably literally go insane because they're by themselves. And I wonder if there's
Yeah.
something about they just want to get out that emotion, and so they do what they can to
So
cause
I didn't
pain.
go into Tilikum because I'm like, we all, let's say, majority of the population that's into this stuff that would be into this podcast have watched that s- movie. Movie, yeah, it wasn't a series, a movie.
Yeah.
So I didn't really go into Tilikum, but if I remember correctly, wasn't one of them that they seemed almost like they were trying to play as well? Like they grabbed them by their leg and they kept bringing them down, so the person like half drowned, half
So
had
it's been a long
injuries.
time
So
since I've watched the movie, but
yeah,
I know that I say killer whales because, yeah, like Lindsay said, we grew up calling them that.
yeah,
But they have been known to like literally play with their food, like kill a
yeah,
seal.
yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. I think that they know the difference. I think we need
I
to give them
think
more credit. Like they know what play is
I think it's
versus.
it's kind of like a cat striking out with you when they're done playing and they're just like, "No, now I'm going to growl and I'm going to hiss and I'm going to scratch at you," right? Like
Jessica
it's
bites me when I pet her too much.
yeah, like well, that's what Samus does it to Vadim. I mean, she doesn't do it to me. But like it's one of those things that's like, yeah, some animals will do this. So if you're an animal that's highly intelligent, highly emotional, like imagine us having a bad day and someone's like, "Do this." You'd be like, you'd bite their head off.
Right.
Figuratively,
Yeah, like
not
verbally.
so that's probably their version of doing that. And I mean, even if I remember correctly in Blackfish, some of the instructors who had survived dangerous encounters with these orcas were like, I never blame them.
Oh, well, yeah. And I mean,
Right.
and then that's the thing is that you have to hate the overall concept and the big corporations. You can't hate the trainer because the trainers go in with the
Hmm.
best of intentions. Like they truly
Yes.
love these animals.
Yes.
And if anyone ever were to get hurt by an animal, they know it's not.
Yeah.
And even if it
They
is
take
technically
on that
intentional,
risk, I'm
it's,
sure,
yeah,
that they know even if everything's going doing the
Perfect.
best they can,
Hmm.
right? Like accidents happen.
they must happen more than we hear for sure.
I mean, imagine
Yeah.
us not being able to get out. Imagine us being like, oh, we're just stuck in our house
I'd go
all the
crazy.
time. And like a
I would
house
go
is
crazy.
like
Yeah.
being generous considering what they were in. It was literally
Yeah.
like
Right.
them being in a bathtub. Like imagine somebody said to us like, "Oh,
Everyone
you're just in your
complained
bathtub."
about
Of
being
course we would
stuck at
COVID.
go.
home during COVID.
COVID.
So
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's
I
no
remember vividly
surprise.
crying in the shower because I couldn't just like go out and see friends and family. So I would not do well
yeah.
as a whale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
So it's
It's
not a
really sad
surprise.
that, obviously people died, but it is like I think even
Mhm.
back to like when Steve Irwin died, like he was so good with
Yeah.
animals and anything can
God, Steve
Uh-huh.
happen when
Irwin. Oh.
you're around animal. Like you just don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
And
You're always taking a chance when you're doing that
yeah.
line of work.
And well, you covered way more than just that one aspect. So in general, like I love these episodes that you do because, don't forget it's ocean mysteries. That's part of it.
Yeah.
And I mean,
yes.
I think most people can probably point out orca on a poster of other sea
Mhm.
creatures, but it's just nice to hear all the facets. And I feel like there's still a lot you could do
Well,
with
just
this
Yeah.
like
element. Like there's a
the
lot.
fact of like their limbic system alone and how it's better than ours. So
I
like
want to hear
they're
more
more
about
in
the salmon
tuned with
hats.
their I know, right? They're
Yeah. I
more
want
Yeah.
to
in
hear
tuned
about
with their
more of their
emotions than we
social.
are.
Well, and it was
Yeah.
That's
funny because
crazy.
when Lindsay mentioned like the connection to elephants, I thought the exact same thing. Like elephants are
Mm.
now not
I didn't
maybe
even
not
think
Mhm.
now.
to go into that.
So
Yeah.
I mean it's been around, but I think now they're doing more research and like yeah, they have these full like funerals and all these like different things that
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
do, and like, oh my God, like that makes me almost emotional thinking about how
Right.
animals are
Which,
so
like,
much smarter than we give them credit for sometimes.
like I said, that one that's off the coast of Vancouver that has been seen doing a grief
look at
swim
this
twice. Like,
baby.
obviously, they
Yeah.
have their own format, and I think there's even humpback whales that have been known to do that as well.
Yeah.
Like, this is such like a thing in the animal kingdom still for people to grieve, and we really need to take that into consideration when we're, a lot of people are just like, oh, well, they're just animals. I don't feel like anybody that's listening to this, or
no.
obviously any of us feel this way, but it is really sad that that's a sentiment that they have, where it's like, these animals are so, I look at my cat and how fucking complex her emotions seem. Like, imagine
Right.
something with this as his brain. Like, it's crazy. But I'm sure that we could rant all day about this.
Well, yes, but no, we're at an hour, so I'm sure everyone's sick of us. And also, we stayed on topic most of the time, but
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
entire time. So
Yeah.
High
we're gonna-
five for us.
we did our best.
I like it.
So we will. Okay, well, I know I want
Okay,
a high five
1, 2,
too,
3.
so
Okay,
let me
Go.
take-
Yeah.
If you're only listening, you miss an awesome.
You don't know what we were
try
just doing.
five.
Virtual high five. Yeah.
So awesome job. I highly
you, Chantal.
request more like animal based episodes.
They're
If everyone
coming, for
agrees,
sure.
say aye.
I know.
I-
I always learn
I-
a lot from these episodes. So
Yeah.
So do I.
thank you.
No
right.
problemo.
And
But we'll be back next week. Don't forget, if you like this, to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. If you're watching, however you want to do it, just follow us.
if you're watching, we're sorry, but please like this video still.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Thank
If
you.
I
you're
hope you think
Trevor-
we're better than NPR. I don't
if
know.
you're Trevor, you're awesome.
Yeah.
Trevor knows. He knows who he is.
Yes.
We've also had some
You
people
know who
reach
you
out
are.
and say thank you. Say thank you. Sorry, this rum. I don't know what's happened. We've had people reach out to say congrats on 1 year, and some people are
Yeah.
so freaking sweet. And even if you didn't reach
Thank
out,
you.
you've listened this whole time. And that's incredible.
Yes,
I can't
that's
believe it's been
incredible
1 year.
enough, yeah.
So
Oh, I
just
also got
thank
on
you.
Strogan's case, so he knows that he's been called out a few times too.
Oh,
So
and he
said he's gonna
commented
get back on
recently,
his
so,
commenting.
yeah.
Yeah,
Message
there we
received.
go.
And,
Yeah,
and
message
shout out to
received.
Finley for also being
Also,
Yes.
always
having-
who's a donator as well.
Yes.
Mhm.
And he
FYI.
also helps comment when we've had the occasional troll.
Troll.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
You know
nice
what,
to have
guys?
someone
He
support
gets on it with us. I
The
love our
more
support
trolls,
system.
the better. I say that with a grain of salt because like it's engagement. So like
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
do it.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. We
Okay,
can handle
love
it. We all got
everyone.
thick skin.
Thank you
Okay.
for listening. Comment, subscribe, like, listen.
Not as thick
tell
as
your
an orca,
friends.
but you
Oh,
know,
you're right. We're almost there.
that layer of blubber we
Figuratively.
need to keep ourselves so warm.
Well, I'm gonna go shopping online for salmon hats. So I will see you guys next week.
See you
Okay,
next week.
love you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening today. We loved having you. If you liked the episode, share with your friends, family, or anyone who would enjoy it. Also, take a moment to review our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leaving us a like or comment really helps. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, please visit our coffee page at www.ko-fi.com/coastfiles. Email us at coastfilespod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at coastfilespod, or visit our website at www.coastfiles.com. You can find the sources for today's episode on our website. See you next week with a new episode.